Hello everyone and welcome to Victoria's Cantina. Today we're having a look at the Safari new for 2017 feathered Velociraptor. This dinosaur is available from dansdinosaurs.com. For all the latest and greatest in dinosaur and prehistoric collectibles, visit Dan's Dinosaurs. So Safari is something that I've recently grown really interested in. As you know, we usually review Reborn and Papo and, the Jurassic Park dinosaurs and such, but I really have a knack for accurate dinosaurs, scientifically accurate dinosaurs. And Safari is pretty much known as being one of, if not maybe the most accurate companies currently to produce dinosaur models. So as you can see, it's feathered Velociraptor. We did get one of these from Papo last year. I liked it, but it wasn't all that accurate. I mean, it was a good attempt at making a feathered dinosaur, but it just wasn't quite where it needed to be. So I got really interested when I saw this. You can see it comes in a plastic baggie. It's got a display sort of tray around its feet in order to keep it propped up and prevent it from warping as it's shipping to you. And it does look like the tail's gone a little bit warped because it seems like from what I've seen in photos that it should just jet out straight. So I'm going to go ahead and get the figure opened up. When we come back, we'll take a closer look at the Safari feathered Velociraptor. Okay, now here is the feathered Velociraptor out of the packaging, if you can really call it packaging. It's a baggie, and it's got a great aesthetic to it. Now, I did mention early in the video that the tail seems to be a little bit deformed, because from what I've seen in photos and stuff, it should be just like a straight tail. So I've kind of tried, bending it a little bit, as Safari says you can do on their website, and it seems to kind of hold for a little bit, and then it just kind of goes back to curving down again. So probably what I'll do is I'll just heat it up, see if we can get it to reshape, because I'm sure it would look a lot more dynamic that way. But looking at what we have, it's a really nice aesthetic. It's a fresh take on a Velociraptor. It's very much different from what Papo did last year with their version, and it's sculpted really nicely. It's very bird-like, and that's what we want to see with Velociraptors and feathered dinosaurs, because they basically evolved into birds. And we know that Velociraptor bones have been found, showing evidence that they would have had feathers. So, this is great in terms of scientific accuracy. It's a very detailed piece. I mean, it looks great from all angles. And I really like the coloring on it. I mean, it's different. It's not something that we normally see with these animals, but it is really grounded in the modern world. It's not far-fetched at all that it would look something like this. And as I was saying, the sculpting on here is just top-notch. I mean, looking at it up close, you can see that it's got a lot of nice fine details in there. Nice sculpt work, very narrow Velociraptor snout as they would have had. You don't have an articulated jaw. It would have been cool if it had one, but it doesn't. And looking at it from the front, it does have binocular vision. So that's another point in the accuracy category. The eyes themselves are very nice. They're basically like a brown-orange sort of color. Black pupils in there. And again, just very nice sculpting and detail in here. You can see that the teeth look very nice. Lots of tiny teeth in there. Inside of the mouth has some decent detail. The tongue looks really good. I like how they colored that tongue. A little bit of a wash on it. You can see all of the feathers on its body. Plenty of feathering on it. And if you look at the wings here, it's got the longer feathers that extend from the middle finger of the animal, which is accurate. And they look great. You get this orangey sort of color on most of the body, and it has a little bit of a toasted look to it, since they did paint these little more dark brown sort of elements on them, contrasting to the head, which has the very nice white streak there going from the back of the eye down the neck. The snout is exposed. There aren't any feathers on that, but they quickly materialize right after that. So, you get this really nice white down at the bottom. The feet and hands are basically like this green color, and that's a really nice color. I think it works really well. And very nice detail here. You can see the texturing going on here on the legs and on the feet. You get the sickle claws there on the toes. And it is interesting how they gave this animal the more yellow colored claws. So that is interesting. The coloring, though, it's just really well done. It doesn't look stenciled on. I was afraid it was going to kind of have that sort of aesthetic to it. It looks a little bit more natural. Is it perfect? Not really. I mean, I think they could have still done a better job with the gradient here between white and this more orangey color. But it's really not too bad. I mean, you can see that they did do a pretty good gradient down here. If they would have applied what you're seeing on the sides of the body, like back here, up along the neck, maybe it would have looked a little bit better. I'm not too sure. But I am happy with what I am seeing here on the whole. You get very similar feathers here on the tail to what you have here on the wings. And they're very nice long feathers, and they are sculpted very nicely. You can see that each feather has its own texturing and detail. It's a very nice, thickly covered tail. So, I mean, you do have all of those feathers on there. And, just give it a very bird-like sort of look. As far as balancing goes, I mean, it's pretty perfect. It stands on both of its feet, but it also balances here on the wing, especially this one here on its left side. So aesthetically speaking, I am truly happy with what I am seeing here. I mean, if I could just get that tail to stick out properly, I think it would look even better, even more dynamic. But, I'm going to have to work on that. But as is, it really is a stunning piece. Here's a comparison with Papo's feathered Velociraptor that they released last year, and we did review it. Papo's version kind of looks like they took a regular Velociraptor, more of the lizard sort of aesthetic that we see in popular culture, and then just added some feathers to it. And that's not really the right way to approach a feathered Velociraptor. What Safari did here is they basically took the skeleton and then turned it into a bird, which of course should be more accurate. So even though this Papo version is nicely detailed, nicely sculpted, and it has some really nice paint work, it's just not anywhere near as accurate as Safari's version. Now in terms of scale, they seem to be about the same size. So if you wanted to put them together on a shelf and just have different depictions of a feathered Velociraptor, then you could do that. They would work. But if you're going more for accuracy, then the Safari one definitely beats out Papo's version. Here is Papo's non-feathered Velociraptor so that you can see them side by side. Again, scale between the two seems to be about the same, but Papo's is basically the Jurassic Park Velociraptor. Now in terms of size, at the very top of the head, we're looking at about 2 3/4 inches for the overall length. It seems like it's going to be about 7.5 to 8 inches. I think it should be a little bit longer. If I can get that tail to extend fully, then it's going to be a little bit longer. For the width at its greatest point, you're going to be looking at about 2.5 inches. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so there you have it. This is our look at the Safari, new for 2017, feathered Velociraptor. All in all, I think that Safari did a very commendable, very nice job on their feathered version of this animal. If you're looking for a scientifically accurate Velociraptor, then look no further. This is the way to go. In terms of sheer scientific accuracy, I just think that this is probably going to be the go-to raptor for some time to come. It's very nicely sculpted. It's very nicely textured, and the coloration is quite natural and quite realistic. I do feel that some aspects of the paint, such as the gradient in some areas, could be a little bit better to give it a more natural look, but for the most part, I am quite happy with what Safari put forth. Alright my friends, if you've enjoyed this video, then do give us a like, do subscribe, let me know your thoughts down below. Be sure to follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and as always, I'd like to thank you for tuning in to Victoria's Cantina. Until next time, my friends, bye-bye.